around that belly button. Now you have a great big piece of paper. You can make this at least the size of a baseball, or even a little bit bigger than a baseball. I work smaller under the camera here. So mine's more about the size of a golf ball. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and put down some guidelines. And guidelines are a map to show us where Goofy's eyes, nose, and everything goes. This is going to be a straight line right through the middle, from way up high, right through the circle, and then down below it. Again, very, very lightly, just dark enough to see. We're going to put another guideline just a little way up from the bottom, going across, like this. Yes, yes. Trust me, I've done this before. I am a professional. All right. Now, we've got that guideline just a little way up from the bottom of our circle, and we're going to draw in his jowls. He is a dog. A lot of people have been saying he's a cow. He's not a cow, he's a dog. His original name was Dippy Dog. Now, right underneath my circle, I'm going to draw two little watermelons, right here and right here. These watermelons are in love, and they come together to give each other a little watermelon kiss right there in the middle. Okay, everything's still very light and loose. Now, the nose. I'm going to go just underneath that line there and draw in a big nose. I think Goofy's nose is the kind of a nose that if you squeeze it, it should go like that. Because that's Goofy for me. Now that looks pretty good. I'm liking the way that nose looks. So I'm going to make that the first thing I lock in and make a permanent part of my drawing of the goof. I'm just going to go over it, give it a nice bold coloring book kind of an outline, you know, the kind that you don't go outside the lines when you're coloring. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to color it in. Sound effects. Do my little sound effects. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, to show that his nose is coming towards us, we're going to give him snout lines. Snout lines are single-line rainbows that are just above his nose. And when you look at this, it'll look like his nose is coming towards us a little bit. Now, he's got a pretty long snout, so he needs two of these. His pal Pluto has three of them because he's a hound dog, a different kind of a dog, you know? Goofy's the kind of a dog that drives a car. Pluto's the kind of a dog that chases cars. That's the difference. Now that we've got that in place, let's go ahead and draw in his cheeks. Right over here, see where this and this meet each other? I'm going to draw in a little coffee cup handle, right? Like back in the day, before Starbucks, when coffee cups had handles. There you go, just like that. And I'll do the same thing over here. There's his cheeks. And he's going to be smiling, even though he's going to be in this kind of monster mode. He is going to be smiling, and his smile is going to end right in that those little coffee cup handles. Bring up two little lines and put a little rainbow at the top. Okay? Now we'll lock in his jowls. I'm going to start working my way around here, and I'll tell you a little bit about this man named Walt Disney and his love of a good spooky story. Walt Disney loved to tell spooky stories. A lot of people don't realize this. But he made cartoons with Mickey Mouse called The Haunted House, The Mad Doctor. He had Mickey in all kinds of spooky adventures. And then he made a series of cartoons called The Silly Symphonies. Now these were cartoons that didn't have characters like Mickey, Donald, or Goofy in them, but they were just like music videos, right? And the very first one he made, does anybody know what it was? The Skeleton Dance, right? So Walt loved to do spooky things in his films. And I think that's why we still love to watch those things. In fact, you can see the Skeleton Dance and some of these other great spooky cartoons on Disney Plus. There's a shameless plug for that. Okay. I'm going to give him just a couple of whiskers here and there. And you know, since he's Franken Goofy, I'm going to give him a little scar right here. Nothing too gruesome. Now we got to get those buck teeth, right? He's a silly character, and silly characters quite often have buck teeth. I think he started the trend. I think Goofy was the OG, and everybody else is just wannabe. Let's go ahead. I make him as wide as his cheeks. If I were just to come down like that, just a little marshmallow right there, a little marshmallow right here. There we go. There we go. think of all the characters that are silly characters that have buck teeth, like Tomater and Olaf, Roger Rabbit. Okay. Now, we're going to draw his chin, right? He doesn't have, we're not going to have him with his mouth open. It's going to look like Frank, you know, how Frankenstein just walks around like that. That's how our movie's going to look. I wanted his chin to be just about as wide as those cheeks if you were to go like kind of down from there and draw a big letter U. This, see, it's about as wide as his cheeks are there. There we go. And his lower lip is just a little curve right here. Okay, I think this is a good time to add maybe another little suture. I'm going to put a little one over here. Just for fun. Okay, doke. Now his eyes. Something else about silly characters. Their eyes are very close together. If you're drawing Snow White, her eyes are wide set. She's gorgeous, right? Silly characters like Goofy, their eyes are right on top of each other. In fact, Goofy is so silly that his eyes just melt together in the middle. There's not even a separation. Just go right up against his cheek. They have a big curve. And then when you come to that center guideline, hit the brakes right there. They're just going to melt together in the middle. It's called a uni eye. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get this locked in now. All righty. It's coming together. My creation. Just like Dr. Frankenstein. Okay. His pupils now are going to be right here above that top snout line. I'm going to make this one kind of normal size, but to make him look, you know, a little out of whack, I'll make this one a little smaller. That'll sell the silliness of it. Okie doke. Now then, this is called following the studied line. In art class, teacher may say, follow the studied line. Here's what they mean. Look at this. For example, the golden arches up there that are making me hungry for a Big Mac right now, I'm going to draw them again. Just a little bit higher. I'm looking at this, and I'm drawing it again, following the studied line. There we go. This is a technique you'll use a lot when you're drawing characters like this. Okay, I've got to connect that brow to those cheeks, so I'm going to choose a line. I think I'll choose you, Pikachu, right here. Right over here. All right. His ears are going to dangle down, and they start at these little buds right here above his cheeks. I'm going to put these two little bumps, and then I'll bring those ears down and out around his cheeks there, like that. See, it's like a wobbly teardrop. It's very narrow right where that starts, and then it rounds off towards the bottom. That looks good. I'll go ahead and get this locked in. Oh my goodness. You know, it didn't stop with short cartoons for Walt Disney either. Has anybody ever seen Fantasia? Remember the Night on Bald Mountain? Where the devil comes up out of the mountain and raises all the spirits up out of the graveyard? That's pretty darn spooky. A lot of the Disney animated films have some very, very spooky scenes. And one of my all-time favorites, another one that I watch again and again on Disney Plus, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Right? That is great, great stuff. If you've never seen Walt Disney's amazing animated film, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, of course you get the story of Toad, that reckless driver from Fantasyland. And then you get the story of Ichabod Crane and his encounter with the Headless Horseman, who we honor right here in our park with that statue right down the street. Okay, now, it's not looking frank and goofy enough. I'm going to go to the side of his brows and I'm going to bring up his forehead like this. We're going to give him that flat top, that Frankenstein flat top. So about that high, and then I'm going to curve over like this, and I'm going to just have some stray hairs kind of coming out this side here. So I'll just add what we call blades of grass, or little sharp things here to suggest strands of hair. Get all of this nice and dark in here now. just that additional Frankenstein forehead. Okay, and I'm going to darken in those ears real quick. Now I turn my pencil sideways, and I use it like a Crayola. And I cover a lot of ground, and I get a pretty smooth tone. It's not, it's not perfect. This is rough sketching skill. A lot like those wonderful drawings you saw out there in the corridor before you came into this room. Those are great examples of artwork by some of the greatest Disney animators, Glenn Keane and Eric Goldberg. And you'll notice that if you look at those again on your way out, that you'll see a lot of the sketchy construction lines that they use. Now that's good. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave his forehead just white like this, but I will color in that strand of hair that's kind of combed over on the top of his head. Just darken in those strands of hair, those sharp bits here. All right. Looks pretty good. Okay. Oh, here's the pièce de résistance right here, just above his ears. Gonna come out this, and then add his bolts. Right? Those electrodes. Shock them with electricity. Lightning bolts hit them, and that brings this monster to life. There he is. It's alive. It's alive. It's broken. I'm going to go ahead and sign my monster right over here. All right. 2024. Wow. He's terrifying.